We are on week 4. All right, we are in the final week of this module. So we're in module 3, and now we are in week 4. So if you remember, this whole module has been about what makes a community. All right, so in week 1, we talked about places in a community. We talked about people in week 2. Week before then was week 3. We did working together. And our final week, we're going to do a sense of belonging. Okay, so it's going to be talking about making new friends in a community and feeling good when you're at home, right? Okay, so that's what our focus is going to be on this week. Some words we have this week, I just want to show you this week's words. We have the word and, okay? Oh, no, these are not the words, I'm sorry. Hold on, I gotta go all the way down to week. Holy moly, hold on. No, those aren't it either, I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Thank you. There we are. This week's words. Sorry, time. M-E. E makes the word me. So when you see the word me in the sentence, please read it. My brother drove me to school. This word, if you take off the S, we have it. Sit. If we add an S to the end, now it's sits. So, Anna Holly sits next to me at lunch. Okay? The last word, we've used this word before. We actually had it for one of our words of the week, I believe. It was what if. So, I want you to watch my mouth, mascot, please, because I want to show you. The TH at the end, you have to stick your tongue out and put it under your front teeth. No, you don't pull your nice tongue. Makes that F. So it's what if. You try it. What if makes the word with. Okay, I just want to make sure you can see my mouth when I do that. All right, Dion went to the zoo with his dad. Okay, so me, sits, and with. Those are going to be our 3 words this week. Okay? So before we do that, though, let's go ahead back here. All right, so we're going to read a story today called A Piece of Home. A Piece of Home. All right, so when you look at a story, a lot of times we've done this, we make a prediction. What do we think is going to happen? So here it says make and predict and check predictions. So a prediction is a best guess about what will happen next. So when we go through the story, we kind of look at the front cover of the book, right? That's how we make our first prediction, we make a guess. So here you see a little boy, okay, and he's with his, what do you think? Who's he with, maybe, Riley?
His mom.
Maybe his mom, okay.
Grandma.
Or grandma, possibly, okay. So mom or grandma, all right, and he's bringing her some flowers. So any idea what this might be? It's called A Piece of Home. Any predictions? A Piece of Home. Dean, what do you think? It's okay. Now listen, you use pictures and the different texts to figure out what you think is going to happen next, okay? So as you read, check to see if you are right. Okay, so as we go through this, we'll hear about this little boy. It's going to be about this little boy. And it's going to talk a lot about home, maybe more than one home, okay? So as we go through, make sure you're listening, and we'll figure out and make some predictions as we go along. I'll stop it.
What's prediction?
Okay. What I just said, a prediction, let me go back. A prediction is a best guess about what will happen next. Okay, we're going to make a guess as to what we think the story is going to be about. What do we think is going to be happening later? Okay, that's a prediction. Okay, so here we go. A Piece of Home by Jerry Watson, illustrated by, oh, I don't know how to, Haiwan Young. Haiwan Young. It's some pretty pictures. Are they like watercolor paints almost that they used? To kind of paint some of it.
It's so pretty.
Very nice art. Okay. So remember, be patient. Sometimes as we turn these pages, we'll see how well it does. So you notice this flower up here a lot.
Yes.
So remember that flower. And that might be something to help us as we make some predictions along the way. All right, fingers crossed that it pops up here a little bit faster. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Listen up.
In Korea, my grandmother was a wise and wonderful teacher. When students bowed, She held her shoulders erect, but her eyes sparkled.
Okay, so right now he's talking about his what? Finn?
Teacher.
Not his teacher, he said his what, Jenna?
Grandmother.
His grandmother. But she was a teacher, it sounded like, right? So they said the word teacher. So she was a wonderful teacher. She was very wise. And so here he is, and there's his grandmother. So look, she's waving, it looks like to maybe some students that maybe she had. And people really, it said her eyes sparkled. She held her shoulders erect. She held them up. So she always stood up proper. Okay, so people can see her. All right, here we go.
Even at home, my grandmother could find the extraordinary held within the ordinary. Like how she coaxed her magumwa shrubs to blossom into tanshim flowers, revealing their bright red centers.
Those are some pretty flowers, right? Look like she has a really nice garden, doesn't she?
Yeah, I wish I had a golden like that. But
Okay.
Teacher.
So those flowers, it says they're called magumsha shrubs. Okay, and they blossomed into tantrum flowers. Ooh, I've never heard of such a flower. It sounds very extraordinary, right? The word they use, extraordinary. It means they're very different and very unique, right? Okay.
In Korea, I was ordinary, a regular boy, playing and laughing and bossing my little sister, Sarah. I was not extraordinary, not different. I was just me, like so many others.
Okay, so do you notice where he said he's from? He says in where? Where does he live? Did you hear that? It says in Korea. You know, anyone ever heard of Korea before? No? Okay, you've heard of Korea? So it's very, very far away. All right, so he lives in Korea, and at his school he's saying he wasn't extraordinary. He was just like all the other kids, right? He bossed his sister around. He went to school with everybody else, and he speaks a different language too. So in here we don't see any letters that we recognize or numbers, okay? So there in Korea though, he was just like everybody else, all right? But listen what's gonna happen.
In Korea, my father, who always did the right thing, who always did what was expected, surprised us all. He accepted a position at a law school in West Virginia. Who would expect West Virginia? He laughed, and so did my mother. I did not.
So his dad is gonna be working somewhere new. Did you hear that? In West Virginia. So I've never heard of West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's in the
Nope.
United States.
Yeah.
All right. So his dad, he said, always does the right thing, always does what he's supposed to. So he accepted and said yes to a new job. And Mom and Dad laughed about it and said, you know, it's somewhere, who would have ever thought? West Virginia we're going to. But does he like that?
No.
No, he is not happy about it. Why do you think he's not happy about that, Alina?
Because he's gonna miss his dad.
Well, do you think that they're all gonna move?
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like it's just his dad leaving. The whole family's gonna move. So do you think he wants to leave his friends?
No.
Do you think he wants to leave his home?
No.
No. Riley?
He's sad that he does. He's very nervous and sad that he doesn't because he doesn't want to leave his home and he doesn't know where the new place he's not with and
Sure.
he doesn't know what's there or
Right. When you go somewhere new, it's kind of scary, right?
how big
And
it
it's
is.
not like they're going just for a trip. They're going to be living there. Okay, so let's hear what's happening. Here's what's going to happen. This is them getting ready to move. Go.
In swift movements and rapid time, I found my world packed into 3 boxes and 1 suitcase, crated, nailed, and mailed to a house I'd never seen.
So here's their new home in West Virginia, and he had to pack up everything in just 3 boxes in a suitcase, all his stuff. Do you think he had to leave some things behind? Do you think he could take every single little thing with him?
No.
Probably not. So he maybe had to leave some toys behind. Maybe he didn't take all his clothes, but they were only able to bring so many things because that's a long trip. Look, he even had to mail it on a boat to go overseas. Okay, so it's very, very far away. So here he is, coming to West Virginia. He has to move to a new house. And even Grandma came with too, so everyone's with them. But listen to what they talk about with Grandma.
In West Virginia, my grandmother stays at home, and she does not hold her shoulders erect, and her eyes don't gleam. Not at all.
So now, her shoulders aren't erect. She's maybe kind of hunched over, maybe a little bit more. She's sitting in the chair, kind of quiet. She's staying home. Why do you think she's staying home? She doesn't seem as excited. What do you think, Julianne? Yeah, so back at home, she knew the kids. Do you think they speak the same language in the United States? No, we speak English here, okay? Over in Korea, they're not going to speak a lot of English, maybe. And the grandmother, maybe she doesn't know any English, okay? So this is a big change for her. So she's not going to want to go out, and she's not going to know anybody, and it's hard for her to talk to people because she can't even speak the same language anymore. So grandmother seems a little sad. Do you think he's sad too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what happens as he gets to a new school.
In West Virginia, I am not ordinary. I am different. My eyes are not big and round like everyone else's. And my hair does not tumble in thick curls or make a golden halo around my head. My new classmates smile and talk, but it is sharp noise. Their names sit like stones on my tongue. Steve, Tom.
So what is he saying is different about him compared to his friends? What did he say is different, Alina?
Because he speaks the same, he doesn't speak the same
Language?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So right now he's even saying their names are even really different when he says them. So their names, okay, they've got Lynn and Tom and Steve. We have Mary over there and Silas. And then there's Heejun is his name. Okay, I might even be saying it wrong, but Heejun. And his name is much different than everybody else's. So even his name he feels is different. He says his eyes are different than everyone's. His hair is different than everyone else's. Okay? Now, we know that that's not a big deal, right? Because we know that God made all of us very different, and we love it that we're different, right? But he feels like he is not, he's saying now that he is, he's not ordinary. He's very different from everybody. Which we think is a good thing, right? But to him, it's not a good thing anymore. Okay? He doesn't like this, that he stands out. Even though we talk about standing out as being an awesome thing, right? Being different from one another. But he's not feeling very, very happy about it.
Here there are mountains, like in Korea, but the sky seems smaller and darker. I miss the lights of our city. The dark here is so black, at night I touch my eyes to make sure they are open, but when the pale moon is full and round, it looks like my face, and a little like the face of the woman who is now my teacher.
Alright, so he doesn't even like the night sky. He's saying even that is different. Alright, so he's finding everything that he doesn't like about this place, West Virginia. Do you think he can find something? Maybe something that maybe he could really like and enjoy?
No.
Fingers crossed. I'm hoping he finds something that he likes.
My teacher is nice. She tries to help. She speaks slowly, as if I am stupid, lips snapping over sounds my mouth will not make. I try to say I don't want to be here. She nods a lot and smiles, but she knows that I do not understand. And I know she does not understand.
Okay. So one good thing is he says his teacher is very what? Riley?
Nice.
Very nice. But she's speaking very slowly to him, and he feels really, I know he said the word stupid, we don't want to use that word stupid, but that's how he feels. Because she's talking so slow to him. And he's a pretty smart kid, I think, but it's just hard for them to communicate right now, right? They're having a hard time communicating. Yes, Alina?
You said the bad word.
Well, I'm telling you, we don't say the word stupid. I don't use the word stupid, but in the story, that's how he feels, right? I'm just describing that. I want you guys to use those words, but I'm just making sure you guys know that's how he feels, all right? Stupid or dumb, and we don't use those words, but inside that's how he feels because that's how the teacher's talking to him. She doesn't mean to do that, but they're having a hard time talking to one another, and she really wants him to feel happy and fit in, but he's not feeling that way right now.
Sarah also does not understand. She bites and kicks and even spits on her teacher.
Oh no.
My grandmother cries and tries to tell the teacher she is sorry. Then my father talks to the school in his flawless English. It is decided that my grandmother will go to school with my sister to give her a bit of ordinary. But I have no help. I wish I were little enough or brave enough to bite and kick and spit.
Oh no. So Sarah, his sister, is really not getting it. Okay, she doesn't like it. So she is going to have who come with her to school? Who's going to go with her to school, Brayden? Grandma. So that makes her feel a little bit more comfortable and have a little bit more ordinary, like her ordinary day that she had when she was back in Korea. Okay? But unfortunately, he can't have grandma come to school with him, right? He's a little bit bigger, so they're hoping that he doesn't need that kind of help because his sister's so much smaller. So Dad, though, seems to be able to speak English no problem, right? They said?
Yeah.
So he's just saying she is having a hard time adjusting. Wouldn't you have a hard time adjusting too?
Yeah.
I feel so bad for them because you don't want them to have a hard time, but it's going to take some time, I think, still. Do you think, let's make a prediction now. Do you think that they're going to want to stay in West Virginia? Or do you think they're going to want to go back home to Korea?
Stay.
You think they'll end up staying by the end?
Stay.
Okay, do you think it's going to end up being a happy ending? Do you think this is going to go on like this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's see what happens here.
Days become weeks, and weeks become months. I learn bathroom and please. I am surprised that I can form words that make their meaning clear, though they still feel like stones, heavy in my mouth. They work, though. Play with me, like in Korea. Pass it back, like in Korea.
Okay, so he's learning some words. What words did you hear him say that he learned how to use, Dean?
Please.
Please, or what else? Did you hear the other words he said?
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I don't know if he got, he didn't say thank you, but I bet he learned that one too. Please and thank you. He learned how to say the word, what else, Riley?
Play with me.
Play with me at recess. Okay, Juliana?
Toilet.
Bathroom, right? Bathroom, he said. Yep, because that's a good one to learn. If you have to use the bathroom, you want to know how to say bathroom, right? Okay, Dean, hear another one?
Okay.
Oh, here he said okay, because they said, he's saying, let's throw it at the girls, the boy's saying. And he goes, okay. But look at, he's communicating though. Isn't that awesome? That's a good sign. Okay, look at, he even said the word pizza. Okay, because he wanted pizza for lunch. Look at that. He's learning a couple of words that is helping him get by through his days. All right, so it's not making it so scary. Okay, here we go.
Grandmother is learning too, along with Sarah. At dinner, she tells us about the other children in Sarah's class and about their young teacher, newly engaged, who helps my grandmother with English at nap time. And my grandmother, with halting words, gives her advice.
Oh, all right. So Sarah is learning some English, and so is Grandma. All right, so it's actually really nice that Grandma's there with Sarah, so she can also learn a couple of things. And it sounds like Grandma is even helping one of the new teachers to learn a little bit of, because remember, Grandma was a what? She's a teacher, right? So maybe they're working together a little bit, huh? A little teamwork. Okay, so are things starting to look a little bit better? Sounding a little bit better?
Yes.
I think so. Okay, let's see what happens here.
One day, Steve says, "Hey Jun, come over." My first visit to a friend.
Ooh.
In his yard, I discover a red-centered blossom. Magunwa, I say. Rose of Sharon, Steve says. It's Magunwa in Korea, I say. It's Rose of Sharon here, Steve says.
Okay, so look at, he sees something that reminds him of home. It was that Magunwa flower, right? The bush. And Steve is saying, no, it's Rose of Sharon. That's what we call it here. And he's like, no, Magamwa. So they're kind of going back and forth, saying, no, this is what we call it. But either way, do you think Heijun he's very excited to see this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it makes him think of home. So he has a happy memory, and that makes him feel a little bit better now about even being there. And plus he had his first play date with a friend. That is awesome. All right.
When I leave, Steve's mother gives me Magungwa blossoms and a tender shoot to take home.
That's so
A
nice.
piece of heaven, grandmother says. A piece of home.
Oh, so you hear that? A piece of heaven. And Grandma even said, no, a piece of home is with them. So here he's talking to his grandma. He says, here it is called Rose of Sharon. And Grandma says, a piece of home. Wasn't it the title of our story? Okay, so here is a little piece of home that now they have with them. And how do they look right now?
Happy.
So happy, right? Oh, that is so awesome. Yeah, his little sister was up there on the porch too, right?
Is she
Sarah.
like crying?
What's that?
Is the yellow sister porch like crying?
I don't think she was crying. No, here we go.
My grandmother plants the shoot, and at the end of the summer, she takes one of the Magungwa blossoms and sews it onto the wedding dress of her teacher friend, like our family does in Korea. And I can say, Steve, come over, light like a bubble on my tongue. And that is ordinary in our new home.
Oh, awesome. So is this a happy ending?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you hear her say that, and that is ordinary in our new home. So finally they have a little bit of ordinary, something that is not totally strange, totally different. Something that is just an ordinary thing that they had. So they have that Magungwa plant that is now at their home, which was something that was with them in Korea. Okay? So, oh, what a happy ending. I'm so happy that now he has a good friend. That, okay, the whole family is together. Even Grandma is happy too. Even Sarah, she's not biting anybody, which is a good thing, right?
I was like,
Oh my goodness.
I'm good at fighting my brother.
Oh,